Okay. Yes, Mr. Vedi, is my voice audible?
Out there, and welcome back to our Favorite Friday series, episode number 5. Today we have a really interesting topic. We're going to talk about a really interesting topic. It's all about teacher burnout and how to take care of their mental well-being and everything. So yes, assalamu alaikum, Mr. Vincent. How are you?
Walaikum salam, Mr. Vedi. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. So, let me just give you a brief introduction about myself. My name is Vincent
Sure,
Richard,
sure.
and I've been teaching English language for CIEs for the past, okay, well, it's many years, I would say, and been working alongside with Mr. Vedi, and it has been a great collaboration with her. So, just want to tell you about something about myself that I have been a CIE student myself, and then further on, I have been a commerce student. From then onwards, I became interested in literature, which led me further on to get on with my theatrics, and I studied under Dr. Sajjad, script writing, and the late Mr. Respectable, and I would say a legendary performing artist, Sir 𝐍𝐚𝐿𝐴. I studied music under legendary guitarists as Afaq, Adnan, and Aamir Zaki as well. And so far, so foremost, I have been the former head of the English language department at 𝐵 College, January 1. So my passion is teaching. I would say that I live and I rise up each morning to teach something or the other. And in this pursuit, I try to improve myself. The topic for today that is chosen, and we were discussing it mutually about the profession called teaching. And I must say it is one of the most rewarding and the most amazing professions of this world. And indeed, teaching is something which, by which other professions are created. And it is not a doubt that engineers, doctors, architects, or businessmen, or whatsoever, anyone in this life is incomplete without a teacher, or a mentor, or a guide. Even if you find that nature itself is quite, it acts as a guide and it acts as a teacher towards us by telling us about the changing time, the tide of time as well. The changing weather signifies that the change is always there. And I must say that while in this pursuit of being a teacher, we as human beings, we also face a very common and a similar thing. Most of the teachers, I mean, they must be agreeing to this fact that we do face a dilemma or a phenomenon or this unusual part as to what we say called a burnout. Okay, we have all experienced it, we never talk about it. And it's quite rare in these parts because being teachers, we always consider that it's our job to give and give and give and give. Whereas life teaches us that there should always be a balance between give and take. So, isn't it, Mr. Viriya?
Yes. So,
Hmm.
what would you like to share about today's topic? And is there any subjective experience that you would like to start off with, basically? कि हम किस तरह से मतलब टीचर्स की अच्छा इसमें थोड़ा सा मैं ऑडियंस को पहले क्लियर कर दूं कि इसमें हम मल्टीपल एस्पेक्ट आज के टॉपिक में टच करेंगे जिसके अंदर हम बर्नआउट के बारे में तो बात कर रहे हैं बट we're going to talk about how we can work towards the mental, well-being of the educators, educationists out there. And because see, if a teacher herself or himself is not good, तो वो खुद जब तक बेहतर नहीं होंगे, mentally वो okay नहीं होंगे, वो एक fine state में नहीं होते, so how can they be, like productive or like creative people for their students? Matlab, it is very essential for a teacher, himself or herself to be in a very sound state of mind and a very happy and healthy mental state in order to, put themselves out there amongst their children. क्योंकि अगर फिर बंदा खुद जब वो मतलब अगर उसका मूड ठीक नहीं हो या टीचर की तबीयत ठीक नहीं हो और फिर वो डिक्लाइन हो रही हो तो फिर दैट अफेक्ट आई मीन लीव्स अ लॉन्ग लास्टिंग इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन द स्टूडेंट्स एज वेल एंड देन मतलब वो इस तरह से हम पॉजिटिविटी डिलीवर नहीं कर पाते जो हम करना चाहते हैं और दिस इज सम टॉपिक दैट इज स्टिल काइंड ऑफ यू कैन से कंसिडर एज अ टैबू इफ नॉट वेरी मच देन स्टिल टू सम एक्सटेंट इसके बारे में ज्यादा बात नहीं की जाती बिकॉज वेदर इट्स कॉर्पोरेट और इट्स लाइक आर टीचिंग इंडस्ट्री द वर्क कल्चर ना हमारे यहाँ कुछ जरूरत से ज्यादा ही जो ग्राइंड कल्चर है ना उसको ग्लोरीफाई किया जाता है तो मतलब कि बस टीचर ग्राइंड करता रहे हर वक्त ऑन ड्यूटी रहे एक्स्ट्रा वर्किंग वीकेंड्स एंड दिस दैट एंड वी ऑल नो ऑलरेडी टीचिंग इज अ प्रोफेशन दैट रिक्वायर्स अ 24 आवर सर्विस मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि सिर्फ आप एक 5 या 6 घंटे की आप नौकरी के लिए अदारे में जा रहे हो व्हेन यू कम होम यू ऑलवेज फाइंड योरसेल्फ वर्किंग इन वन थिंग और द अदर रिलेटेड टू स्कूल और लाइक व्हाटएवर स्पेशली यूर अ स्कूल एजुकेटर मतलब कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी वालों को तो फिर थोड़ा ब्रेक मिल जाता है लेकिन स्कूल वालों की हम बात कर रहे हैं बिल्कुल तो वो बहुत ज्यादा है उनके ऊपर हमेशा प्रेशर रहता है तो हाउ टू डील विद दैट बैगेज वेदर इट्स इमोशनल फिजिकल
Hmm.
mental elements that can contribute towards a happy and healthy work culture and to like keep teachers educators educationists safe from the burnout and to that point जहाँ पर unwanted aggression students पर निकल रही हो या कहीं पे भी किसी तरीके से कुछ नेगेटिव हो रहा हो तो मिस्टर विंसी आज इन्हीं सारी चीजों पर बात करेंगे तो यस ओवर टू यू
Thank you so much, Mr. Vidya. Now, first of all, let's talk about what is the burnout. Okay. Before we proceed further on, let's just discuss that what is this phenomena called a burnout, and it should be normally stated, and it is normally taken that teachers, by far most, they are one of the high achievers. They keep on improving the lives of many, and they contribute to the society in many ways. But sometimes or the other, rest and alongside their mental state needs to be taken into consideration. So sometimes this culture we are living in is purely workaholic. Okay, yes, we need to work on, we need to keep on working, we need to strive on better. But in this part, we face some sort of darkness. We face a certain cynical aspect of life where we consider that some way or the other we are not doing enough. So let's first consider first what are the signs of burnout in that aspect. First thing a teacher faces a burnout. Normally we have a fatigue and sleep issue as well. Okay. Now definitely a full day teaching is enough to make anyone tired. I mean, we teach some morning, probably some of them even contribute towards night. I know some teachers, some fellow colleagues of mine teach till about 11 p.m. late at night. So some way or the other, this fatigue, this constant pressure on them creates this form of body ache, cramps, okay, which they experience, and foremost, it also creates insomnia as well. Okay, we also somehow, whenever a teacher faces a burnout, they also experience a weight loss. Okay. And we also face an appetite issue that we don't feel like being hungry enough. Definitely, for some of us might be sacrificing a lunch or breakfast as well, just to get along the hard routine of life itself. I mean, I used to do it earlier that I used to sacrifice my breakfast just because I was pretty much I wanted to be up so early. Third, most foremost, we often fear and we often face, I would say, anxiety. Okay. And that happens when our heart feels troubled out. This can often lead to depression, which can further elevate this issue. Now, this is just one side of the story that what a teacher experiences when they're facing a burnout. But what about on the side of students? Because, of course, we are catering to their needs. So, teacher burnout goes hand in hand with students as well. And if I quote, I would say that according to the National Education Association, the loss of a teacher during the school year is like losing up to 72, I repeat, 72 instructional days. So if a teacher is experiencing a burnout, 72 important, vital days are gone, just go away. So when a teacher is feeling a burnout, okay, and if that issue is not addressed properly, what happens is that the teacher, when they're feeling less motivated themselves, they're not inspired, they're not much, what can you say, hardworking in this word, I would say motivated or encouraged enough. The same impact will also be reflected by the students themselves. So if the teacher is not motivated enough, if the teacher is facing a burnout, they may not be able to motivate the students towards learning. When a teacher experiences a burnout, they often take long leaves, they become absent as well. Now, this might be a drawback to the school management, um, because this is administration, but frankly speaking, when a teacher faces burnout, they don't feel like going to work. It's like their self-driven inspiration is gone so far. The juice is gone. And of course, when a teacher gets absent, the frequent idea of substitution creates a barrier, creates a bridge, or makes a gulf so wide that a teacher, even when they willingly try to be there for their students, they're not able to bridge the gap. Now, the factors which triggers out a burnout, though they be many, yet I've highlighted some of the aspects of it. Number one, the common ones I will talk about is that they experience poor school funding. And what is this poor school funding? It is actually when an institution or when a school expects the teacher to use their money, okay, or to use, if I would say, being a teacher myself, to use their hard earned income to purchase stationery, to do photocopies. So normally what happens is that no matter how much gross income we pay, but even that amount, and keeping in mind inflation as such, we know very well that how much toil it takes. I mean, अगर हम लोग गाड़ी का पेट्रोल भरवाने के लिए जाते हैं, being a teacher myself, so we often discuss this idea, यार पेट्रोल प्राइस तो आपको ज्यादा नहीं बढ़ गया? पहले टैंक इतने का भरता था, बट अब इतने का भरता है. And we often talk like communism sometimes that, यार महंगाई बहुत ज्यादा नहीं होगी क्या? This aspect is like giving, giving, and giving. So I believe that if a school wants to avoid a teacher's burnout, they must provide with basic necessities like stationery, photocopies, primarily at a minimal charge to the teachers so that they can give the best to their students as well. Adding to all of this, we have the COVID-19 factor. Now, most of the teachers who have joined in, first of all, is welcome you all to the students who have joined in. Now, this COVID-19, whenever I mention about it, oh, laptop, okay, and it comes into the pressure of being distant enough. Of course, well, it had its benefits as well that we teachers became much more, I mean, we became literate towards technology which we were not earlier. I would say this on my behalf as well. I became interested in more technology, in managing Zoom or whatsoever, whichever platform that we have to use. It was surveyed and was researched that an astounding 69% teachers in 2022 reported that they had to spend additional time from their work routine to getting back to the students, assessing to their needs, and of course, this idea was that since the teacher is not doing anything, so from the aspect of the student, let's ask this thing at 3 a.m. And I must relate one incident to you, Mr. Area, that while I was doing so, while we were in the isolation days, while we were cut off from the world and from the social life, while we were experiencing social distance,
Yeah.
I was surprised at around at 3 a.m. in the morning, while of course I was sleeping. A student, a
Uh,
student messaged me and said that, sir, what can be a better way that we can address to a summary? Or what is the format of an article writing? And I was like, gosh, it's 3 a.m. Please, for goodness sake, man, let me sleep. Of course, I did not answer this way, but of course, this toil,
yeah,
this
मतलब you must be
constant.
thinking to yourself कि ये कौन सा time है यार message करने
I just saw the message and I just looked at the time. I said, okay, this is the message. Okay, I need to address it. But then suddenly there was this clock thing in my room. I said, man, it's 3 a.m. And it's like past midnight hours, and I'm supposed to sleep and complete my sleep cycle. But here I am answering. Of course, I answered to it, but the following day, I was getting tired. I was exhausted, mentally and physically both. Screen time of the teachers increased a lot. There was time when we used to give lectures to our students that they should not use cell phones or mobile phones in that case, or they should spend less time on the social media. And on the other hand, we were the ones who were managing up team meetings. Okay, we were scheduling. We were talking about Zoom meetings over WhatsApp. सर लिंक नहीं चल रहा सर माइक कैसे ऑन होगा सर ये क्वेश्चन है वो क्वेश्चन है सर लाइट चली गई so this was a basic problem COVID-19 whereas it brought many opportunities of being teaching the teachers but it also had a drawback that our freedom of the teachers also increased. Similarly, standardized testing also plays an important part because what happens is that if there is no standard set by the institution, the teacher might see or might face this basic issue that whatever they do is less. They don't have a benchmark on how they can grade up a student. I mean, of course, I'm talking about from my own personal aspect of it. While we were students, I remember that our teachers, they used to consider correcting our notebooks and our answers in the best possible way that they could. They used to consider which part of speech is used where, and all these things they shaped us because the benchmark was a bit higher as compared to the benchmark which we normally follow, which we usually follow in our curriculums these days. So the benefit of having a high benchmark is that you do get the best students. Yes, you do get the best students. But what happens is the creative aspect of it is lost. A student is not made to think creatively or thinking outside the box is discouraged. And that's how it works out. I mean, the teacher says, okay, what to follow? Should they follow on being more creative, or should they follow the formative assessments, by which they will be assessing the students? Because we cannot judge each child according to our experience. We need to keep it in mind, and consider the fact that the student of this age is far more challenging. The student is far more adaptive to technology. Okay, they are far more aware of the social media than what we were earlier.
Very true.
We have also this issue which many teachers face. ये बच्चा मेरी सुनता ही नहीं है, मैं बता बता के थक गई हूँ, मैं बता बता के थक गया हूँ कि बेटा पढ़ लो पढ़ लो पढ़ लो, बट ये बच्चा तो है, he doesn't listen or she doesn't listen. Behavioral issues by the students also cause the teachers burnout. And of course, we are teaching to teenagers, so keeping in mind the age aspect of it, we need to consider the fact that we are teaching teenagers, we're not teaching toddlers as well. Okay, so that idea of questioning should be encouraged, but it should not turn out to be a fish market where every student is coming up with everything. And this part is played well played by the management. That how the management addresses the issue. Because we have a limited period of time. For some institutions it's 30 minutes, for some it's 40 minutes in general. If it's a block period, then 80 minutes. Let's say, for example, if 20 minutes of it is just spent on managing the student, that beta, please sit, please relax, open up your books. Why didn't you bring your book? Don't you know about it? How come can you forget? I mean, all these issues, they really make the teacher go to that extent that they're just completely lost. Then we have parents. Some parents, they are always on the aspect that the teacher is not doing anything, or the management is quite numb to it, or the management does not keep a check on the teacher or the students. Or normally, since we are teaching higher grade students of senior O's and A's, I remember way back when I was teaching grade 8s that time, I had a parent came, just turned up on the meditation meeting, and of course the child did not do well. And you won't believe me, Ms. Javeria, that the parent actually the mother specifically, brought the results of grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. And the simple thing was what? Sir, in all these 3 years, my child has stood at the first position. And how can he fail in English language? And definitely, that was a challenge for me as well. I mean, how to explain to them the basic idea that what is CI learning about, or how can we um, inculcate creative writing skills, or I would say the technique for answering. It was pretty hard. It was much of a challenge, but some way or the other, we all face difficult parents in that aspect. So it literally drains out the teacher in giving them validation. Now, what this parents can do in this aspect is that they should know and they should trust the teacher. Trusting is a very much important factor which comes into consideration. First of all, knowing what the child, in which grade or in which standard, in under which board are they studying. Every board, we talk about Edexcel, CIEs, IGCSE, name any board, CBSE, you name any board out there in the world. What I believe is that a parent should know that each board requires a different ideology or a different set of mind. Whereas like a state student normally, they're normally making things outside the box. They're giving case scenarios, case studies. And talking about from your medium, I would like to tell all the teachers, I mean, who are with connecting with us and who are teaching English language, that when we are teaching 1123, the English language code for the CIEs, normally the paper nowadays is much more challenging. It is, I mean, days are gone when we used to depend on just the format. It's more the aspect of how you think. So, from the part of parents, the parents should trust the teacher that whatever they are doing is for the betterment of their child. Number one, it is said that a teacher is basically the second parent of every child. So this trusting factor gets into consideration, knowing which board they are following, being well aware of the trends and norms, going outside the world, and the need for it. It has a huge impact. Now, most of you would be favoring me in the other one. We also have one more factor that is not enough planning time. We often see that teachers are cramped up in writing the lesson plans, into giving the best. Sometimes it happens that due to the absences of some teachers, we are taking substitutes. Okay, we're just rushing from one grade to another. For example, the teacher is teaching grade 11, the senior O's. They might have to take a substitute in the maths for like maths in grade 6. That's a complete change. Okay, so of course in that time the planning time is lost. Okay, either they're being overworked, which makes them lose the time check, and they become so tired and so lethargic that they're not able to even focus on a single word, which makes them, of course, and their domestic life as well. For those of us who are married, for all those who are married and they are teaching, and for those who are in this profession since many years, I know people, they people especially the teachers, they need to cook, they need to look after the young ones, they provide for the family, so it creates a lot of load for them, and that's when they feel a complete burnout. They do not feel the need to go on. If the teacher faces a lack of appreciation by the management, as we say that, I mean, whatever they are doing is just being taken for granted. I mean, the time that they're investing in preparing the lessons is one thing which is like not taken into consideration. That also happens. And due to lack of appreciation, a teacher feels that whatever they are doing or however they are doing is something which is not being considered by anyone in the world. This happens, and most importantly, we also face with link with this. We also face a lack of autonomy. A teacher is not empowered for their class. On the day of recruitment, if a teacher is given a set of rules that this is how they need to act, and they're not supposed to go beyond it, definitely the teacher feels that they are
Yeah.
lost. They just need to follow. Okay, so then their sense of
मतलब वही
empowerment.
वाली बात होती है ना, जो सिस्टम फॉलो करे सिस्टम फॉलो करें, सिस्टम को चेंज करने की जरूरत नहीं है, मतलब वही वाली बात आ जाती है।
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Or surprisingly, the heads, me being a head as well earlier, I had to follow the management, which was definitely a system, which meant that these things should be followed. Okay, डेट यहाँ पे लिखनी, लेफ्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव वर्ब होती है यहाँ लिखनी चाहिए, नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स यहाँ पे लिखने चाहिए. That's perfect, good to go. That's discipline. But in this pursuit, let us not forget that a teacher needs to feel empowered, because then only the sense of accountability comes into action. Okay, we are accountable for our every action. So normally this lack of decision making, it really creates, I mean, a sense of alienation. I would like to quote a personal experience again. Mr. Veer, please don't mind me sharing my personal experience. Just don't get bogged up with it, because I must contribute of whatever I am today
Can you
is my work
can you come
under.
back, please?
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm sorry that I'm contributing towards my personal experience and relating it more, because some way or the
No,
other,
no, it's fine.
all
I
these
told
years,
you, yeah. Subjectivity can be there, बिल्कुल.
I have worked under very good leadership, okay, and I have been teaching under some strong leadership, and I must say, I must at this time thank them for their contribution in shaping me as to who I am today as a teacher and as an instructor. I remember I was teaching newborn, okay, back in Habib Public School, and over there, I would like to quote one person who really changed this perspective, and that was Mr. Sajjad. And of course, this name brings a smile on many people's faces. It brought a change in me as well. And we were conducting a class inside the classroom. Okay, we were conducting a class inside the classroom, and it was like grade two, like there were grade two and there were grade three students. And Mrs. Annie came in the class and she said that, "Sir, you're doing it perfectly fine, very good. But how about if we take them outside and there's a tree beside it, or there is a lawn behind it, there's a garden behind it. So why can't the children just sit down on the grass, enjoy the weather, okay, and then you can teach them." And when she came in, she joined in the class, and we were doing some singing exercises, some singing practices, some singing techniques about the music notation that Miss Wayne joined us in. So this was something which I really liked, and I was like, I was having a smile. And all these years, after all these years back, I left Habib back in 2019, and still now, it still brings a smile to my face. This is what it means. And then she said a very golden thing, that you are in charge. And she never used the word, the idea of a class teacher. She had to think of caregiver, someone who gives care. Now, this was something which was very personal. We are assessing to the students' need, but this aspect about her, it changed my way of thinking. That whenever I go to teach, it's not okay. It's the same old name, the same old students who have to teach. No, I'm there to assess to their needs as well, and that opened up a door for me to understand that I need to be there for them, for my students. This class ownership grew from that aspect of mine. This was one thing. Now, how can we, some way or the other, um, change or bring a change or solve on this issue about teachers' burnout, which we often experience? Normally or the other, whenever if a teacher faces a burnout, we need to find out what is there that is triggering them out? Is it a student's perspective about them? Is it from the management side?
मतलब आवाज में
Is it
so yes, okay, you're back. You're back.
okay? So I was saying that
Distortion हो रहा है actually, मुझसे ना आवाज वीडियो हैंग हो गई थी.
okay, is it better now?
Yeah, it's okay. मतलब थोड़ा सा distortion एक constant हो ही रहा है.
अच्छा constant हो रहा है distortion. Surprised,
Yeah.
but it's better now.
Yeah, glitches are very common यार. अभी ये तो है ना, मतलब net frequency ऊपर नीचे होती है. And we
हाँ हाँ हाँ. अब बेहतर है?
poor part. Better.
Okay. Now normally,
Achha, is the time being shown over there on your end, because we like have to wrap up within this 1 hour frame,
sure. We'll be doing it in the next minutes, of course.
right? So we
In the next few minutes, of course, definitely. If you give
inshallah.
the teacher and if you make them empowered, if you give them a sense of responsibility that they are the ones who are shaping the future, they are the ones who are responsible for a child's upbringing, for their nurture. I believe that when a teacher feels empowered, they can do anything in the world. They can shape up geniuses like Newton. Okay, we can have many more creative souls being nurtured by teachers. So if the management, if the school authorities, they make the teachers empowered, I believe a teacher will always find time to do what they love doing. And primarily, teaching is something which is very entitled to passion. So when you feel something, or when you are passionate about something or the other, naturally, what happens is that you feel inclined towards doing it, and then we need to engage teachers in the right conversation. You know, sometimes, Mr. Vedia, we do not even know what to ask or how to ask. I would say the how to ask is much more necessary. I learned this thing back in my business studies class, and they said that it's not what you say, but it's how you say it that matters.
Exactly.
So normally you need to ask of a teacher that what, according to them, good work looks like. Is it good results, obedience, achievements, peace? What does it mean? What does good work define? How do you define good work? in other words? Then you need to consider the management needs to consider what are the obstacles a teacher faces. Discuss them out. Discuss things out. Wait things out. Okay. My earlier head, I must say, and I will take a name definitely. That was Miss Venus Head, and she was my head earlier at grade, and I learned a great deal from her. And in our group meetings, she used to come up and say, "Kya problems हैं आपको? What are the problems you are facing? What are the obstacles you are facing?" And since I was the youngest of them all, okay, so I was just like a younger brother to her, and I learned as a student, of course, I learned many things from her. So she used to sit with me in her office and she used to say, "Vincent, what are the problems you are facing as a teacher?" This really solved up, and I could went out things to her, and then an action should be taken. An action should be taken. That if there are obstacles that are required, if there are problems, then what steps should be taken to remove those obstacles? Monetary, if monetary, what can be done? If administrative issues, what can be done about them? In some way or the other, flexibility is a must. Okay, and somehow or the other, I must say from this platform, if a teacher experiences burnout, they must not ever neglect that they are facing a burnout. They need to admit it. It is not just sarka dard. It is not just a body ache. Sometimes we do need professional help. And there are therapists out there, the clinical therapists who are, who consider discussing all these issues over and over again. Because after all, any human being is made up of the experience that they have in their childhood, in their teens, in their adult life, whichever issues they're facing, they somehow reflect at their workplace. So somewhere or the other, if someone is having a noisy family, if someone is having a noisy background in this case, they would feel this need that if they would raise their voice, okay, if they would raise their voice in telling the children, please say it quietly, they're making twice the amount of noise which children is making. So the question would be that who is making noise in the end of the day? Okay, so this comes into action, and most importantly, as teachers, I'd say it is a factor that we need to consider that the future is known by no one. We do not know the future. We do not know the coming days. We do not know what tomorrow may hold for us. This fear, the sense of fear which is in our heads, it makes us anxious and desperate to know. And that desperation leads us to overwork. You know, कल कैसा होगा कल किसने देखा और नून मीम राशिद की नज्म जिंदगी से डरते हो is quite a remarkable thing, or what can be said about it. और बहुत सुकून से बोलते हैं कि जिंदगी से डरते हो, जिंदगी तो तुम भी हो, जिंदगी तो हम भी हैं, आदमी से डरते हो, आदमी तो तुम भी हो, आदमी तो हम भी हैं. बट एंड में एक वर्स एक आती है which says तुम अभी से डरते हो, तुम अभी से डरते हो. We are not afraid of darkness. We are afraid of being hopeless. We are afraid of being left alone, abandoned, forgotten. But let me just tell you, teachers, that no matter wherever we are, primary, middle, high, college, university, you people matter. You all matter. You might not know what impact you might create in a student's life. So please remember, you need to take care of yourself. A giver should also be treated well in life. And that concludes the topic. Thank you so much for being here.
Most welcome. Our people, whoever viewing us right now or whoever like tend to view us in future, उन्हें भी जो है वो ये सारे मतलब पॉइंट्स कलेक्टिवली यानी कि सर के एक्सपीरियंस से भी जो है वो आप लोग कुछ यूजफुलनेस है ये चलना है आपने इन फ्यूचर ताकि थोड़े से आप कौन सी चीजें आपने वो है यानी कि अप्लाई करनी है कौन सी इग्नोर करनी है in order to keep your sanity intact and to keep yourself like stable enough for functioning properly at your workplace. क्योंकि देखे वर्क पॉलिटिक्स तो हर जगह होती है टॉक्सिसिटी भी होगी अराउंड लाइक डिफरेंट प्लेसेस डिफरेंट पीपल आई मीन देयर इज अ वैरायटी आउट देयर and as we both are sitting here we both have experienced like coincidentally हमने यानी कि 3 जगहें ऐसी थी जहाँ हमारे म्यूचुअल वर्क प्लेसेस रह चुकी हैं और म्यूचुअल हेड रह चुके हैं। मतलब
Yes.
उनमें से एक कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर था एंड 2 वर लाइक रिलेटेड टू आवर एजुकेशनल इंडस्ट्री और उसके अलावा बाकी डिफरेंट एक्सपीरियंसेस रहे हैं। तो भाई कुछ जगहों पे बहुत ही अच्छे हेड्स मिले यानी वो एक्चुअली लीडर्स थे जो दैट टुक अस टू एक्चुअली अनदर लेवल।
And one more thing before I forget, Mr. Veria, sharing this in your medium.
Sorry.
I was just like to contribute one idea that in order not to face a burnout, try investing in yourselves. Okay, go for a workout, go for a walk. Okay, plan a vacation at least once a year, or if not a vacation anywhere in the world or anywhere in the country. Try to detach yourself from your work over the weekend. Give it an evening walk, give it a morning walk, eat healthy, okay, stay hydrated, okay, drink lots of amount of water, okay, because of course you're dealing with your brain and your brain needs water to act, okay, less caffeine, okay, and more positivity. Read as much as you can. Know what's going around the world. Be well aware.
Also, burnout is something that doesn't just happen overnight. Matlab, it's something that is like kind of like just, it's there, it keeps on building है और एकदम उसका फिर लावा तो बियर्ड बिकम की एक सप्रेशन और एक रिप्रेशन होती है जो ओवर द एजेस हमारे अंदर बिल्डअप हो रही होती है और फिर सडनली वो एकदम अटैक करता है ना जब तो फिर बहुत ज्यादा एक लंबे अरसे के लिए इंसान को अनविलिंगली ब्रेक पर जाना पड़ता है बिकॉज ये बहुत नेचुरल सा एक मेडिकल फैक्ट है कि इफ वी डू नॉट गिव आवर बॉडीज द ब्रेक दे रिक्वायर द बॉडीज विल देमसेल्व्स टेक दैट ब्रेक और वो फिर जिस तरीके से अचानक से लेंगी ना बीच में कि वो जो आपके सारे काम लटक जाते हैं सब धरे का धरा रह जाता है आप कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे होते तो फिर वो उस टाइम पर ना it's really talk about my own self, like being an extreme workaholic and person who always has believed in the hustle culture. And I mean, I'm not glorifying it, but yes, of course, it was the need of the time also. And I have always been like that kind of a person, that empowered woman who has always been working towards my goals untiringly. Alhamdulillah. तो जब मैंने माशाल्लाह इतना over the years मैंने straight 12 सालों तक स्कूलों में काम किया without giving myself a minute break or a proper like vacation or holiday or anything at all. या कोई मतलब ऐसा जिससे अभी सर ने बताया हमारे घर के लिए थोड़ा सा एक थेरेप्यूटिक क्योंकि टाइम नहीं मिल रहा था क्योंकि मेरा रूटीन बहुत टफ था obviously constantly work in the morning and university in the evening or this in the morning so something else in the evening but every single time it was related to padhna so that cycle became like so overwhelming for me at one point that I literally could not take it and down like so badly and that was the reason I had to like just sit at home all of a sudden and start working from home then so it was a massive shift for me already कि physical on site काम करने वाला बंदा workaholic जो सुबह से यानी एक रोजाना सुबह अर्ली मॉर्निंग से उठने का आदि और मिडनाइट तक वो काम कर रहा होता है तो वो एकदम से फिर जब घर बैठना पड़ गया और अब घर से ही मुसलसल मैं काम कर रही हूँ इट्स बीन लाइक गुड 2 years in coming February it's going to be 2 years that I'm working from home now तो मतलब बॉडी क्लॉक भी इस बुरे तरीके से चेंज होती है फिर आप सुबह की जगह रात में जाके काम कर रहे होते हैं और आप कब उठ रहे होते हैं eventually all your habits and everything always good to take a breather in between and just try and take care of yourself raise the bar high of self-love. It's a situation where you have, people that have to take care of you. Because see, you do you. I mean, that's what I've been believing in like very strongly since forever. That you do you. Until and unless you don't take care of yourself the way it is, required or you deserve, तब तक फिर चीजें sort out नहीं होती, right? Because I've learned a lot of things the hard way, and that's the key. कि अगर हमें आगे चल के भी बहुत सारी चीजें अचीव करनी है ना, तो time and again you need to take care of yourself. Because see, you cannot control the entire aura, the entire atmosphere, the people you work with, their natures. But as our guest Vinci said, कि भाई ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग अच्छे नहीं हैं, आपकी मतलब मेंटल ट्यूनिंग नहीं हो रही है उनके साथ, यू कैन नॉट synchronize well with them, you're not able to gel in the system for any good reason. Just pack up and leave. Take your self-respect, your dignity, and just leave. Don't sit at that place and just wait for that moment जहाँ शरीर burnout not in the zone to do anything at all. What do you say, Vinci? How much do you agree with me and my words?
I would fully agree with it. And काफी दफा ये बात हमें अपने फेलो कलीग्स से भी सुननी पड़ती है जब हम एक नई जगह पे ज्वाइन करते हैं whenever we join a new place. We often hear this thing that is being backbite about someone or the other, either the hands in this thing that ये तो है ही ऐसे या तो ये होगी तो है ही ऐसी. So even if you are striving in a toxic environment at a workplace which is highly toxic, of course, leaving is the best option. But let's say, for example, that can be another option which is added to it, which I would request your permission, ma'am, if I can go further, if I can contribute, give my 2 cents on this aspect. Can I?
Right.
So
So,
there's also one more.
sure, sure.
Yeah. May I?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. There's also one more aspect to it that the world that you create in your head and in yourself should be so positive, should be so much, I would say, as in a utopia, that nothing negative from the outside world should affect you. And there is one trick which I learned back from a Scot, okay, while back, Scott in that case. So what we learned was that the best way to strengthen up the day and to meet the day's challenges is with a small curve on your face, which is called the smile technique. Learn to smile. मुस्कुराइए. It may not solve the problem, but will give you one step. Okay? Always have a smile on your face. And it definitely makes all of us look good. Okay? Whenever we are taking pictures, the photographer even says, "Sir, smile." और चूंकि आजकल वेडिंग सीजन है, तो जब ग्रुप फोटोज जब होती हैं हम लोग तो काफी लोग बोलते हैं, फोटोग्राफर बोलता है, "सर, स्माइल दीजिए प्लीज." This is what how it works out.
Circle. So, so there is this. I'm really sorry for this camera's interaction today because I'm actually not on my laptop today, and it's just this weird phone that I have to deal with, which is already getting onto my nerves because I'm not habitual of coming online through phones. But yes, okay. So, yeah. Anything else that you would like to just finally add on to this before we sign off, Vinci? Because I think our time is already about to be up, but I don't know because of some this mobile reason, the time is not being shown to me on my
Mhm.
screen today. So yeah, would you like
I would
say
just
a final line for the audience before we just yeah.
I would just say, be positive, stay hydrated, and smile always. For you are the gardeners of tomorrow's plants.
Great. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining. Thank you once again. Also,
Thank you, sir.
I really hope that you people just like had something to take away from today's session. Also, I hope that if there was any glitch or any issue in the video or like any sort of inconvenience, so yeah, that also just you can do with that because you see these kind of things are always like a part of the live transactions in the broadcasting. We can't just help it. And but I really hope the message that we tried to convey just got through. And yes, until next time, take very good care of yourselves and stay blessed, stay happy, stay positive, and try to work out on the core components. You guys can also like do a lot of reading on these sorts of topics just to educate yourselves more. and to engage yourself in mindful activities, mindfulness, and stay connected to those people who are full of positivity and sunshine in order to avoid any sort of, like mental health issues such as related to your work, especially. So yeah, take care. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, take care. God bless.